today's video, I'm going to check out my top 5 free security tools that every admin has to know. And if you want to keep the bad guys away and keep them frustrated, stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. Hey everyone, great to see you. On today's episode, I thought I'd take a look at my top 5 free security tools. I know what you're thinking. There's loads of options out there. How on earth did I come up with just 5? Well, I got to tell you, there are loads of security tools that have been around for years. But in the last year, I've been doing various projects, working with customers, teaching. And these 5 kind of just really leapt out. And again, they're totally free, so you can play with them, and I'll include the links in the descriptions below. So if you've got questions and comments, by all means, get them down below. And if you'd like a little bit more with access to full Microsoft courses, monthly Zoom calls, and more, why not consider signing up to my Patreon site just there? It'd be great to have you on board. All right. Okay, so I think without any further ado, let's jump in to my top 5. You enjoy. So coming in at my number 5 is Specops Password Auditor. This tool's been around for quite a number of years and is particularly useful for users who are using Active Directory, which, let's face it, is quite a vast number of people out there. So essentially, once you've downloaded it, install it, and what it does, it then presents you with this portal, and you can see here it will give you a really nice overview of your current password policies. It will show you, you can see I've just got a few accounts here just as demos, but it will show you the types of accounts that you've got, and also it will show you if there's any kind of weaknesses with those accounts as well, along with things like stale user accounts. And that's really important if you're migrating users to the cloud, especially if those accounts might happen to be, for example, admin accounts. So you can also go in and have a look at things like compliance as well. And compliance is particularly important. So are the passwords that you're using compliant with things like NIST, PCI, SANS, and so on? And in this case, you'll notice that some of them aren't. You would need the full version of the product to do that. But as an auditing tool, this really sets you on the right track. It can also be quite useful for, as well as compliance. You can see it can give you an idea on, okay, your password policies as an organization. You might need to look at them as well. And compliance is such an important area in our world at the moment. So again, you can go through each of these. It will make recommendations. And you get this kind of side panel. It gives you details of what the policy is actually doing itself as well. Now, also it looks at things like your admin accounts. Have you got any stale admin accounts? Have you got weak passwords? Potentially, of course, we know that Active Directory is a major focal point for hackers. So in that respect, this is a really, really useful tool. On top of that, it can also give you a really nice list of things like expiring passwords as well. So again, this is a totally free tool, and it can be super useful. Now, in terms of expiring passwords, you can also pull off reports here. So things like, when did the user last log on? So any really old stale accounts. So you can see here, it might have been a long time. You don't want accounts like this lying around in your infrastructure, especially if they're admin accounts. That would just be a complete nightmare. Also things like passwords not required. So if you've got accounts that passwords not required, again, this could be a potential backdoor for hackers. So this is something that you would definitely want to address as well. So another really useful report might be, let's say, for example, expiring passwords. And again, this can be useful for not just admin accounts, but also user accounts as well. So you can see here, you get 5 to 7 days, but there's a little slider at the top here, and you can adjust that, and you can go right up to, for example, 30 days with that one. So as well as expiring passwords, you definitely want to check out expired passwords as well. So again, you can go in and you can view that report. That's really useful as well. So there you have it. My number 5 is Specops Password Auditor. So coming in at my number 4 is Gophish. This is the open source phishing framework. Fantastic set of tools. It's been around for many, many years. Now Microsoft 365 have something, and it's incorporated into Microsoft Defender. But for that you need an E5 license, and obviously if you're business premium you don't have the access to that. So basically I'm just going to come in here and you just essentially download the zip file, uninstall the zip file, and what it does is it essentially creates like a little server, Linux kind of server on your environment, and you can see it generates an IP address, and also in the run file there's a username and password, but of course you can change that as well. So once you've configured that and you've gone ahead and set that up and the instructions are all there, essentially you just log in with those credentials, and as I said, you can actually go and create them if you want to. Now the thing, obviously one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and configure, and there are essentially 4 pages here that you'll need to go and kind of set up. So on the dashboard you can see there's nothing running on the dashboard at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the first one here, which is the sending profile. So you just go in, and what I'll do is I'm going to go and create a new profile, and let's just create something basic here. So just kind of give the profile a name. This is a sending profile. For the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to call it Facebook. It's obviously SMTP. You can put an email address, who it's going to be from, of course, and then you'll need to put in the host. Now for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to just use the Google because I'm using Gmail here at the moment. You can use Microsoft 365 as well. For that though, you will need the SMTP address and also the port number. So in this case, you can see that I'll just paste this in. Yep, there we go. You can see it's running on port 587 here. Again, just put in your username and password. And you can see there's an option there that says ignore certificate errors. So obviously this will run over HTTP, not HTTPS. And essentially what we're doing is you'll then have options here for email headers. So if you want to create an email header, you can customize that. You can add that in if you want to. A quick email confirms that everything has come through. And once that's confirmed, I'll just go ahead and save that profile. So with the magic of video editing, you can see that we now go to the landing page. Just ignore the dates. I recorded this demo quite some time ago and I use it in my class. But the next thing that you would do is you would go ahead and you would create your landing page. And obviously, depending on the campaign that you're doing, you want to make it look as genuine as possible. And of course, you can make this look as complex or as simple as you want. Of course, the richer you make it look, the more believable it's going to look for your potential victims or your users. Other things that you probably want to do here is you want to capture the username and the password, of course. Of course, you can also click on the little preview button here, and you can see that my preview is pretty simple, but as I said, you can make it look as good as you want. The other thing that you can also do is obviously emulate a man-in-the-middle attack. So a man-in-the-middle attack, of course, you might use a redirection. You want to make your phishing campaign look more realistic. So you can redirect the user to a genuine web page or a fake web page if you want to. So in here, you can just put in facebook.com or something like that. So once you're finished with the landing page, the next thing that you want to set up, of course, is the email template. Again, you can make this as believable as you want. You can have multiple templates. Now, the one benefit, of course, that Microsoft 365 has with their Defender phishing emails is that they come with a wealth of different campaigns and different templates. Now, of course, the downside is you have to pay for that, whereas here you can create them. So what we're doing here is, again, you can just create a very simple template, give it a name. It can be text-based, it can be HTML-based as well, whatever suits you. So after grabbing a bit of HTML code, I can just import that in, and I can then use it as my Facebook template. And when the user will receive this, it really does look quite genuine. Okay, so once you produce the template, the next thing you want to do is create your users and your groups. And again, this is your potential employees that you want to send this phishing email out to. So again, you can call the group anything you want to, and you can either add the users individually, and you can also do a bulk import as well. And for that, you can just import from a spreadsheet using common CSV files. Really easy to do. And once you've done that, simply just save your changes, and then the final part is creating the actual email campaign itself. So you can go in this example, we create a campaign, and I'll use this one for Facebook, but you can create many. I'm sure you can use templates from your own organization. And as I said, this is fantastic to test your users. And as I say, you can create many different templates, and you can use these in your campaigns. And again, the one thing I would say about this testing tool is it's a fantastic way of training your users. But also the one thing that Microsoft does have is the ability to kind of send training materials. So again, there's once you've sent that email out, you need to be able to monitor it. And that's it. Simply save it, save the campaign once you've filled in the details. And then you can say, right, let's schedule that campaign and send it out. And you can see that you get a nice dashboard, and it gives you the results. It lets you know the names of the users, for example, who clicked on those nasty emails. So the dashboard is live, and all you got to do now is wait for your users to click the email. So users' email comes in, as you can see, they see it's Facebook. Oh, I should click onto that. And you can see it takes them through to the Facebook logon page. As I said, this screen is just a very simple example. But there you go. My number 4, Gophish. Check it out today. So coming in at my number 3 is the Secure Cloud Business Applications Project, or SCuBA, which is produced by CISA, which is the US cybersecurity agency. I got to tell you, they produce some fantastic templates for baselining your security and compliance tools, and they're absolutely free. Definitely take a look at these, okay? So for those people who live outside the US, you're probably thinking, well, what has this got to do with me, and why would I need to use this tool? The fact is that tools like Secure Score in Microsoft 365, they do a pretty good job. They're okay, but I just find that this is so much more. So you get 3 kind of color levels here. So green means you're compliant and everything's great. Grey means that perhaps there's more work that could be done, and red means that you haven't configured it. Grey could also mean that you don't have the correct license. And that's the other thing that's really useful about this. So for example, if I wanted, the P2 feature, let's say identity protection, it would say it will recommend that, but of course I can't implement that. But the other thing I find that is the granularity of this tool is really good, and it makes really good recommendations. For example, things like conditional access settings and so on. So definitely take a look at this tool, and I'll put the link underneath. That's my number 3 tool. That's SCuBA. Now, application governance is becoming a really hot topic these days, especially around the subject of zero trust. And eNow's AppGove comes in at my number 2. This is a completely free assessment tool, doesn't cost you anything. And essentially what it does is it scans your entire Microsoft 365 environment and it gives you a application governance score. Now, considering that you would normally have to have kind of Microsoft Purview and all the application governance add-on licenses, this kind of does all that for you. And as I say, it's absolutely free. So once you've connected your organization to the eNow platform, essentially you just need to register your organization, and it can take a little while depending on the size of your organization to pull down the report. But once it's complete, you'll get an email as such. Simply click on the link and it will take you through to this portal. Now, in terms of permissions, one of the things you're going to need to do is obviously allowing users to be assigned. So again, it gives you a little bit of documentation there. So all I simply do is I flip over to Enter ID. I'm going to go into my applications, which is in the Identity portal. So once I come into my applications, I'm then going to basically browse for the eNow application. So just bring that in and yeah, just come into here. Come into my enterprise applications and you can see I have the eNow application here. So I simply click onto it, and what I'll then do is I'm going to pop into the properties. So once you're in the properties, there is just that little checkbox essentially, and you need to basically say, yep, I'm going to allow users to be assigned to this. Okay, so once that's enabled, I'm then going to just click on Save. And once I've done that, I can then flip back to the eNow portal. And once I've done that, just before I do that, one thing I meant to do was, of course, you need to add the user in. So which user, and in this case, I'm just adding myself as the owner here. Yes. So just click on that. I'm now the owner of that. So I can now add in and assign any users, any kind of permissions that they need. So once I've done that, I'm now going to flip back to the eNow portal and just kind of refresh the page, and I'm just going to say, yep, I'm done. And it says the assignment was successfully complete, and now my report is ready. So you can see there are some features that are available with the paid version, quite a few details, but just as a governance report for free, this is great because it gives you loads of advice. So you can see here, it talks about how many applications that you've got within your tenant, if the, how many have been registered, how many have got permissions correctly assigned. And this is really quite a detailed report that you can go and you can print off. So there you have it. The eNow's AppGov is coming in at my number 2. Definitely go ahead and check it out. It rocks. So coming in at my number 1, I gotta say this is awesome. This is SquareX, and there's 2 options. There's a personal edition, which is absolutely free, and there's also an enterprise edition, which you can pay for as well. So as I said, I'm focusing on the personal edition here, which is absolutely free. So essentially what you do is you simply click onto personal, and there is a little web app that you need to download. So essentially just simply download the app, and once the app is installed, it's just up here on the toolbar. And you can see I'm using the Brave web browser, but it works in any other browser. And what makes this absolutely awesome is you get 4 free tools. You get a disposable web browser, a disposable file viewer, a disposable email, and also it fully integrates into all your other applications as well. So you can see here with the disposable browser, you can choose a browser in a location wherever you want it to be. So for example, I could say I want to go to Australia, and you can see it just loads in a web browser which is now got a VPN directly into Australia. So as you can see, we now are in Australia, and this is essentially a sandbox. And of course, I can now open up other tabs for monitoring or testing purposes, which is absolutely awesome. But you can see that the tab is actually in a blue, which means it's this sandbox environment. Isn't that cool? That is such a cool feature. And once you've finished, you just simply close that down and that's it done. So my number 2 there is the disposable file viewer. Now, as a SOC or as a security person, you often get kind of nasty attachments. You're not quite sure what they do. This is absolutely awesome. So again, this is a way that you can browse and you could just drag and drop a file here and essentially it opens up another file sandbox. And you can actually see what the file is doing within a really nice, safe environment. And again, here you can see that it's green. Whatever you do here, you know that it's not going to damage your infrastructure. Okay, and again, once you've finished, you just simply dispose of that file viewer. So for the third one, you can even create your own disposable email and you get an inbox. So at any point you want, I can just simply regenerate that. I can edit it, change it. And again, I can now go into my disposable inbox. Particularly useful, of course, if you're attending conferences or something like that. So that's really, really nice. Finally, the last piece of protection is the smart integrations. And as you can see, it allows for in-browser detection and mitigation of potential threats. And it potentially protects you against malicious websites, files, content, networks, and so much more. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. So there you go. Definitely check it out. SquareX, free of charge, personal edition, absolutely rocks. So there you have it, my top 5 security tools. What do you think? Pretty good. Hey, try them out and let me know what you think. Questions and comments? As always, get those down below. And if you've not subscribed, you know the deal. You know what to do. That's it for this time. I'll see you soon. Take care. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by today. Here's a couple of videos that you may enjoy. And while you're here, go ahead, click on the subscribe button and you won't miss out.